Wow. Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publicists Association's Let It Be Known. Where's my music? This morning, what Black voters should know about redistricting. Uh-oh. We having some technical problems here. All right. I think you can hear me. My sound went out. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Greer? All right. All right. I was messing around with my headsets this morning. Y'all know I get a little crazy sometimes. So this morning we're going to talk about three black voters, things black voters should know about redistricting, cases in several states, including Alabama, Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, Florida, and down there where Power 96 is in Louisiana. The outcomes of these cases will test the durability of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the constitutional rights of Black Americans. Also, Biden and Harris, the president and vice president, pushing the fair pay for women, a act, the anniversary of the Fair Pay Act that President Obama um, also signed into legislation. We're also going to talk about this morning. We gotta mention those three black soldiers killed. What a drone attack in Jordan. Um, didn't see the opening picture there at all, or the music, but what a it's just so disturbing, and I know that people say, "Oh, it's always a conspiracy," but these three young black reservists killed in that drone attack over the weekend. It's disturbing to say the least. The Pentagon and President Biden are blaming Iran for the attack, and it's this is I don't know what to say about this. And the young, the three are Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, who's the oldest of the bunch, 46 years old. He is out of Carrollton, Georgia. Specialist Kennedy Layden Sanders, 24 years old, out of Waycross, Georgia. And Specialist Brianna Moffitt, 23 years old, out of Savannah, Georgia. Sanders was they all are very accomplished and interesting individuals, but Sanders really had a lot going on. She had aspirations to elevate her military career upon returning home from the Middle East. Despite her mother's disapproval, she was actively she said she's going to buy her a motorcycle, and she also was active in coaching soccer and basketball in Waycross, Georgia. She was also pursuing a college course to become an X-ray technician. Um, young aspiring stars, if you will, lives lost here. Sanders's parents said she shared that she volunteered for deployment to experience different parts of the world. She wanted to see the world. Her family also is she has a family with a military background. She had previously been deployed to Kuwait and other places before going to Jordan. She also was near the Syrian border. It's just this occurred at the logistics support base at Tower 22 of the Jordanian Defense Network, where approximately 350 U.S. Army and Air Force personnel are stationed. That base is said to have play a crucial role in providing support for the coalition's efforts against ISIS. It's the third drone strike there in the past 6 months. So it wasn't something that didn't, um, never happened. Three times in 6 months, this has happened, but this is the first time that lives were lost, and it just so happens to be these three African American reservists, all three aspiring to greatness, all three on the grass, on the cuffs of greatness and what they were pursuing in their lives. It is, as Power 96 says, heartbreaking. And he says a detailed investigation should be made to the public. The air defense system was not armed, as he's asking. He says he has several questions. He spent 5 years in a combat zone, so he wants answers. I would imagine that current and retired military personnel like Power 96 would like that, would like some answers. Um, David Youngblood says these are in a long line of heroes who have given all for the nation. It is certainly, like I said, heartbreaking to report on these three young um, African American service people. It's sad when it's heartbreaking when anyone loses their lives like this. It's just a lot of questions here, and I know Dr. Chavis sent me a message late last night about this too. Sort of indicating that he too has some suspicions. A lot of people have suspicions as to how this was missed and how these three in particular wound up in the line of fire when you have 350. Not that anybody else's the loss would have been less severe. It's just it begs the question. Listen, this is America, and they represent America. So let's not play. Oh, what are you saying here? You know what we're saying, and we know that we have every reason to say this. Is like the council member Yusef Salam. Um, the cops, turns out they stopped him because they said his tents, yeah, he was too, the windows were too tinted or whatever. And they're getting on him because he immediately said he was a council person. He said he was a council, and he was on the phone with his chief of staff when he was stopped. This is what black people do. He immediately called someone, and he had it on the phone. And he simply said, "I'm a coun." You know why he said he was a councilman? Men, because he's like he said, he's black, and he was being pulled over by the cops. So he was using whatever in his tool belt to stay alive. And so for the right wingers and others, because they are coming at him, oh, the cop was just doing his job, and you threw up that you had to drop that you were a councilman. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't trying to get out of the, if they were going to give him a ticket, he wasn't using that to try to get out of the ticket. He was using that to breathe another day. Dr. Nicole says, so sorry this happened to them. Thankful for their service. Condolences to their families. But this is America. This is what we have to do to stay alive. We also, I got to talk about just briefly, and I'm not going to belabor this. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. But the root, and some people may say that they didn't go overboard, they didn't go too far, but the root has described Nicki Minaj as the most, and this is a quote, the most despicable example of a superstar. And when I first saw that, I said, "Man," I mean, I'm not a Nicki Minaj fan. I don't listen to I couldn't even tell you one, verse of a Nicki Minaj song. Um, I do like Cardi B, even though I can't tell you anything about her songs either. I just like when she talks. I like when she expresses herself. Um, I think she's, like, an interesting person, just funny. Just I think she could be a comedian, is that Cardi B person. But this whole idea of rap beefs, I remember back in the day, like LL. I saw LL talk about this recently. Him and Kumo D. Some of you might not remember that. I know Pam is on; she remembers that. Um, but and I'm sure David Youngblood and Power 96 remember that the beef that it was really Kumo D had with LL, and they would do throw a little you a punk type thing in they rap or whatever. But Nicki Minaj really rubbed even apparently some of her own fans the wrong way with her latest attack. See, they both dropped diss tracks, which is to me it's just it's so childish. It's so stupid when they do when not I'm not just talking about Nicki and homegirl from Houston, Megan. It's any of them. Y'all out here making some serious coin, doing what many others who look up to y'all would love to be in a position to do. And this is how you use your craft. This is how you use the talent that God gave you that was able to take you out of the ghetto. In some cases, some of you out of the gutters of society. And you can't leave little pettiness alone. And Nikki's last name is actually her married name is Petty. So, but she went after Megan, and did a diss track called Bigfoot, and it was all about Megan being shot in the foot. It was a takeoff of that, and we all know what Megan went through and how that was, as she said, it doesn't matter where you're shot at, really, it doesn't. You can die from a gunshot wound, and Megan was shot multiple times in her foot, and she feared for her life. And it was such a traumatizing, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. And she was very public about it was a very public incident. Homeboy's in jail, in prison for it. She's come out and talked about it and talked about how emotionally and mentally that still weighs on her. And this is the why the root says he's the most despicable example of a superstar. Um, and it is especially sad to successful at that. It doesn't have to be successful, but any two black women, but in this case, two very successful black women going at each other like that. It is so upsetting. Monique Daniels' sister, big sister, says you never saw the pioneers, and she's got a point. Queen Latifah, MC Light, Salt and Pepper, they never went at each other. It's always been togetherness. That's the difference in society these days, 100%. They act like, and Imma say it, Imma drop on Nicki Minaj sometimes comes off as a clown. You can't you it's like, "Give me a break." Y'all should look to, and I think somebody said it on our show not too long ago. In fact, it was one of our viewers who wrote. I mean, it's like they don't have no desire, no respect for the pioneers, no desire to look to them, the trailblazers for as an example or as examples. It is so sad when you see this, especially, and it's not taking the guys off the hook, but especially from two successful black women. Megan made a comment or a verse in her song that appeared to go after uh, Nicki's husband, who has been prolific in going after Offset, but it appeared. So perhaps the guilty conscience on the Petty family side got the best of Nicki, because it appeared to attack, and rightfully so. If you're going to attack anybody, you do attack pedophiles. And I'm not saying Petty is a pedophile. I'm saying that was what the verse was about. And if you can't agree with someone dissing a pedophile, then get out the game, because that's really what it was. It was a dish about somebody who got short eyes, as they used to call it. Aunt Pam said he is. So then you get all in your feelings because your husband has been convicted and is labeled a predator, or whatever they do with these people who get convicted of whether it was statutory rape or whatever it was. Grown men shouldn't be with little girls, young girls, legally, lawfully should not, and otherwise. I don't get, I don't get the whole thing anyway. I'm 50 something years old, 50 something years old. A 15, 16, 17, 25-year-old, 30-year-old got nothing for me. I can't do nothing with you. We just not here. I'm not looking at y'all. May look like the most beautiful queen out there, but that's all you got. We can't sit down to dinner and have a adult conversation. It's just ridiculous. This is why they made sure Epstein died in prison, and everybody's shaking when the list was coming out. They know they should know better. But then you got politicians that want to make that stuff legal. I think we spent enough time on Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion for today. The Oscar nominations are out, with several black actors receiving nominations. We're going to talk about that this morning. Pam is absolutely right. She said it's not the conversation they want. We got to talk about Kanye. Now, Kanye's crazy. Kanye's not crazy. He's crazy. He's not crazy. Something wrong with Kanye for sure. We know that, right? But was he right or wrong? Do we have this clip, Greer? I want to know, was he right or wrong? Let's see if we have this or not. Yes, we do. All right. Kanye was confronted by a TMZ reporter who asked about whether Kanye's wife had free will. Listen to Kanye West and this TMZ reporter's confrontation. Check it out.
Has her free will. Some people are controlling.
She's TMZ. She's TMZ. Why do you feel like it's okay? I'm a human being. All of this TMZ, this 30 miles on y'all set selectors up, all this bullshit. I don't give a fuck what y'all got to do. What y'all gonna do? What y'all got to say? Don't come at me with that shit. Ask me that. You think you can walk up on me like that? But you think that you a white woman, you can walk up on me like that and ask me some dumb ass shit like that? Ask me, are my wife talking about this? She got free will? Are you crazy? You ain't saying this is America. You got free will, or you work for the devil? You got free will. You working for TMZ Company? I'm a legend. You understand that? I'm here to support Charlie Wilson. You come and ask me some dumbass shit about my wife. That's my wife. You understand? You wasn't asking shit when I couldn't see my kids. When I couldn't, do you have questions? Do you have questions when I wasn't able to see my kids, and that I only get visitation and don't have rights to where they go to school? You got questions for that, or you part of the system? You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? What do you hear? What do you hear about that? It's not your job to go up to every celebrity, ask them some dumbass shit about their wife. No, tell me. Was it wrong for you to ask me about my wife some dumbass disrespectful shit like that? Was that wrong or right?
I'm sorry, Kanye. I just need my phone.
No. Answer the question. I'm supposed to answer your questions. Answer that question. I got your phone now. They gonna arrest you for taking your phone? Arrest you for taking your phone? Then?
I don't.
You answer the question. You asked me, did my wife have free will? Was that a dumbass, disrespectful question to come ask a grown-ass superhero? Answer the question. What's your name? What is your first and last name and address, Miss?
What are we doing?
I just need my phone.
Where is your phone?
No, she came to me and said, does your wife have free will to speak? She worked for TMZ.
How do you know each other?
Yeah, how do you know me, miss? I don't know you. What is her name? What is this lady's name?
I'm just a reporter.
No, you're not just a reporter. What's your first and last name? Melanie what? What's your address? What you make a year? I'll pay you double what they paying you.
Woo! Woo!
Now you smiling.
Woo!
Yeah, now you smile.
Yes, I will.
Okay, so there's a few things there, right? Before we get, I want to hear whether y'all believe. Come on, y'all, write in. Tell me, what do you think? Tell me what you think on that, because first and foremost, let me just say what Greer, her initial reaction to this is, TMZ is trash, but that fool got a sock over his face while he's talking to her and calling himself a superhero. And I could agree with that. And Power 96 says, Karen is going into victim mode, and Joni King says, oh, Kanye took his meds. So here's the thing with that. First and foremost, and I want to hear from y'all, because this is me, and Power 96 says a broken clock is right twice a day. First and foremost, like during the okay, I think it was Rue David Youngblood said to ask him that question, he needs to take his meds. Both things certainly could be, and in this case probably is true. He mentioned, though, in the middle of that tirade, and this is not my main point, but he mentioned in the middle of that tirade, you didn't ask me, you didn't come to me when I couldn't see my kids. He's talking about Kim Kardashian. You remember, he really melted down when they split and she wouldn't allow him to see his kids. And his point going on, when he was in that tirade mode, he was talking about, and he should have learned a lesson anyway. Oh, because Kim is a white superstar, blah, blah, blah. She's a white, y'all side with her. Y'all don't understand, blah, blah. And he was right. He was right, 100%. They didn't want to go after Kim Kardashian. Don't like the Kardashians. Listen. Dr. Nicole says it's the superhero comments for me, but paparazzi is disrespectful. That part's true. So, am I going to go up to somebody as a journalist? And we cannot, and I gotta say this: we cannot refer to people like TMZ as journalists. We can't. But you cannot. We all listen. I have said the same thing about Bianca, his wife, or whatever her name is. Because now she's like, this is a year. He said, this is a year in which she will never wear pants this year. So you see her walking and at events, she doesn't have pants on, right? And no, she doesn't have a dress on either. And half the time, all she has on is like a thong, like an underwear thong, and she'll wear a fur coat or something like that, or just a little top or what. It's pants legit. And I've asked that question. Like, okay, what is going on? What is really going on with Kanye and his wife? Right? And he's 100% right. It's none of my business. It's none of our business, but it's a normal question in your mind. Like, like this Karen says, right? Does she have free will? Can she do? I mean, is he like dominating her? but it's still none of our business. It's true. It's none of our business. It's both things again can be true, that you're curious, and I'm very curious. I would love to know the answer. And I'm sure some psychiatrists would like to know the answer. Um, and Southbound 3000 caught sort of in there, right? The talk of money will change minds. He said, "What are they paying you? I'll pay you double." And what you may not have heard afterwards was he told his assistant there, the guy who was filming for him, he told his assistant he gave her phone back. He said, "Get her information," and he's reaching out to her, and he's gonna and guarantee you he's gonna offer her a big amount of money. And it wouldn't surprise me if next week she's taking pictures for Kanye West. Power 96 says Kanye is still 5 cans short of a 6-pack. The Kardashian curse is real. OJ is the only black man to break the Kardashian. OJ killed his way out of the Kardashian curse. Come on. But was Kanye right? Was he right or wrong here? And look, what he was wrong about, you never touch a person or their property. He took her phone. Don't do that. Don't do that. Everything else, his tirade or whatever, hey, he flipped out on her because she asked a stupid question. That's not a lead question. And I get it. It was one of those things where you figure you don't have much time with him. I get that. But you don't lead off with that. Are you enslaving your wife? I just remember so well. I was working at a newspaper, and this woman, school principal who was also a city councilman, was cheating on his wife with the school secretary. True story. And it was only news, not because he was cheating on his wife with the school secretary. It was only news for us at the newspaper because he's a city councilman, and it was 5 on the city council, 3 were Democrats, and he was a Democrat, and 2 were Republicans. And if he's forced to resign or he steps away, there's a chance that Republicans would control it. Right. And this is the city of Scranton I'm talking about. And I remember the reporter who at the time was covering City Hall. She calls the guy up. She was covering she was covering City Hall. She calls the guy. She couldn't get him. She couldn't get the mistress because she wanted to confirm the story. She calls the guy's wife, the one who's being cheated on, the wife's who's being cheated on. And just the first question, did you know your husband was sleeping with the secretary? Of course, the wife hung up, and the councilman called the managing editor and went ballistic. Rightfully so. He turned to me and said, "Can you, take over this story or whatever, and talk to, the councilman and see if you can't talk to the wife and whatever, just to smooth things over." We didn't want to get a quote from the wife unless she was willing to, but just to smooth things over. And I did. And from then on, any type of situations like that, I became a City Hall reporter, and any type of situation like that, like we talked earlier about the military personnel being killed, they would send me to the homes of the military personnel and do the interview. You got to know how to handle those things. Got to know how to handle those things. And this TMZ person was extremely out of line. And Kanye with the sock over his face, which is just absolutely insane. So you just got to keep shaking your head. Got to keep shaking your head. So more importantly, folks, several court battles in states throughout the South accused of racial gerrymandering will determine the voting power of Black Americans in the 2024 election and the future control of Congress. The outcomes of these cases, one of which is currently being weighed by the U.S. Supreme Court, will test the durability of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the constitutional right for Black Americans. They will be crucial in determining whether Democrats or Republicans hold the majority in the U.S. House of Representatives next year. So there are about 12 congressional maps currently in litigation that could impact the 2024 elections, which will see contests in all 435 congressional districts across 50 states. Of those dozen cases, half are in states where state legislatures controlled by Republicans are accused of redrawing maps to dilute the concentration of Black Americans in certain districts, also, of course, known as racial gerrymandering, which is supposed to be illegal. The maps, which stay in place for 10 years, and that makes it even more important. They stay in place for 10 years until the next census is conducted. So that's where, when people say, that's where at least personally, I understand, and I'm not promoting anything one way or the other, but I understand when people start saying, oh, my vote don't count. But because you have that situation where only a few control, but then the people say you got to be a part of that few. You got to make that few in your balance. So if you are a Democrat, try to be more, get more Democrats there. And, if you're a Republican, the same thing. Is a case called Alexander versus South Carolina, NAACP. The NAACP Legal Defense Fund accuses the Republican legislation of drawing a congressional map that limits the strength of Black voters in the state's first congressional district. They argue that South Carolina Republicans violated the 14th and 15th Amendments, which guarantee equal protection under the law and prohibit race-based voting discrimination. This is going on despite a lower court decision in January that blocked that map and agreed that it violated the civil rights of Black voters. So they're like, we're doing this anyway. Then you have Allen versus Milligan. Its civil rights activist Evan Milligan is challenging Alabama's congressional map. And he's being represented also by the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and the ACLU. And he's arguing that Alabama's number of majority Black districts does not accurately reflect the Black population in the state. The 2020 census showed that Black voters make up about 27% of Alabama's population, but control only one of the state's 7 congressional districts, which is 14%. Last June, the Supreme Court upheld a previous and unanimous federal district court's ruling that Alabama's map violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act by discriminating against Black voters. But guess what? Even though the Supreme Court ordered them to redraw the map, they refused. They have absolutely refused. How do you refuse? It's like, okay, I shoot and kill somebody, but I refuse to be arrested. How do you refuse? It is unreal what goes on. And then Texas, despite 2020 census data showing an explosion of population growth in Texas, largely driven by an increase of Black and brown voters, the second largest state is accused of drawing a congressional map that solidifies the power of white voters. There is a whole consolidation of lawsuits that are brought by the NAACP, but also the Department of Justice. And they are still, it's unreal. So here's the thing. We talk about folks saying stuff. We talk about Snoop Dogg. Be informed, folks. Well, no matter what you're doing. I'm not talking about just, certainly y'all take voting very seriously. So be informed about it. But be informed about everything. Try to be informed. 2 lawsuits are going on in Florida that challenges that state. Oh gosh, Florida. We just left Florida. We made it out alive. Oh my gosh. The lawsuits accuse state Republicans and Ron DeSantis of violating the constitutional rights of black voters and the state's constitution. When did Ron DeSantis, as Trump says, the sanctimonious, when does he ever cared about what the Constitution said? It's Common Cause Florida versus Byrd, a coalition of groups, including Common Cause and the Florida State Conference of the NAACP, joined individual voters in accusing DeSantis and Republicans of intentional racial discrimination in violation of the 14th and 15th Amendments. Y'all remember a few years ago when they gutted the Voting Rights Act. Well, here is the residuals of it. Power 96 says the second majority black voting district in Louisiana can go either way. Louisiana has a very low voter turnout. Only 36.3% of registered voters voted in the last election. Georgia, 3 lawsuits are going on in the Peach State. Again, violating the Voting Rights Act. That the state purposely is diluting the power of black voters. And what they're doing in Georgia, they're accused of in Georgia, is packing them into multiple majority white districts. So again, yeah, being informed. Austin says we didn't get to walk to Walmart next time. Yeah, sure. And he wants to go. Who wants to go to Walmart in Florida? Y'all see what goes on at Walmarts everywhere else. I ain't going to Walmart in the South. This guy is crazy. And speaking of Louisiana, the state legislature on January 19th approved new congressional maps with a second majority black district. The governor there, Jeff Landry, elected last year, signaled that he would sign off on the map to avoid an independently drawn one approved by, quote, some heavy-handed federal judge. The final map is expected to be approved and in place before the 24 elections, which is on November the 5th. So just be informed about whatever you, because people run off. Oh, this is the case. Snoop Dogg says. Snoop Dogg needs to sit down and be educated before he speaks, and then if he, if he doesn't change his position, at least he's got an education, right? It's not always about trying to change people's position. It's just about making sure that people are well equipped with the knowledge necessary to make their decisions. So yesterday, it was the anniversary. Many people may not know. You remember not long ago, Taraji P. Henson. We all know what she said. The math ain't mathing, right? And so what she, of course, was talking about was pay in Hollywood, and she was beefing about the $150,000 offered to her for what was it, Benjamin Button or whatever it was, and she ultimately got $500,000. And she talked about how they had taxes and paying this person, blah blah blah. Right? Yeah, I know the story, and she was 100% right about women's pay in Hollywood for the most part, because others have said, "Hey, it ain't my deal. It ain't my." But here's the real deal. Yesterday, on the anniversary of the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, the Biden-Harris administration unveiled comprehensive measures to get at persistent gender and racial wage gaps in the United States. Biden and Harris reaffirmed their commitment to equal pay as a fundamental component of their mission to ensure fairness and opportunity for all workers by observing the law that Obama signed in 2009. The administration said, now this is sad. This is why I had to mention the whole Taraji P. Henson thing, because you got to put things in perspective as well. But the administration said it recognizes that women are paid on average. Are y'all ready to do the math? On average, women are paid only 77 cents for every dollar paid to men. But the wage gap, of course, is even more pronounced for women of color. African American women earn just 64 cents, and Latina women earn a mere 55 cents for each dollar earned by their male counterparts. We don't live in the mid 20th century where, for the most part, at least Hollywood told you, women stayed home, they cooked, they cleaned, they did nothing else. They were not to go to work. And if when they went to work, they were somebody's secretary and they got paid, a couple of cents a day because they wasn't allowed to make any money and wasn't allowed to especially make as much or more than their husbands, which I will sign up for it every day if you want to pay my wife more than me. Every single day. But this is America. And this has always been America. So this is why it's so interesting when you see, it's not just black women, white women, Asian women, Latino women are just underpaid. And we could say they're undervalued, right? They're not undervalued in the workplace. They're just underpaid in the workplace. Because we all know we can't get anywhere. Hey, look, this show. When we got Dawn on, or we got Randy on, or we got Misha on, all of a sudden we got more eyeballs. Listen, the fact of the matter is women are very valuable, extremely valuable, and they just are underpaid, underappreciated, right? And so with this Ledbetter Act, it is supposed to help to level the playing field. It has not, as they celebrate the 15th anniversary of the Ledbetter Act. Biden says that it's a crucial step in rectifying historical injustices and creating a fairer future for all. So what's going to happen is the Office of Personnel Management is finalizing a rule to eliminate the consideration of an individual's current or past pay when determining federal employee salaries. See, again, this is all about the federal government, though. The Federal Acquisition Regulatory Council is proposing measures to prohibit federal contractors from seeking and considering applicants' compensation history during the hiring process as well. But okay, that is fine. But let's get something with some teeth in it. Dr. Nicole says we are undervalued. Women are undervalued as well. Yeah, yeah. Publicly, if you are, how do I put it, in a public posture way, these corporations, men, publicly undervalued, but privately, this is why they hire them. This is why they need them in their offices. They know how valuable they are. If that makes sense, they know how, but they don't want them to know how valuable they are. They don't want women to know how valuable they are. And particularly these corporations run by men, come on. Perhaps their secretaries could take over and run it. Look, who put a woman to run Twitter, and I guarantee you it'd be a whole lot better than what it looks like now under Elon Musk. It's just sad that here we are now headed toward the middle of the 21st century, and folks wanted to look more like the early 20th and mid 20th century. And that's really pathetic. So the point is, when black women have a cause, white women should be the first to jump up and have their backs and be right there with them. because what's in the interest of black women is in the interest of all women. But this racist society will never adhere to that or accept or acknowledge that. And that is just the bottom line. It's the bottom line. Power 96 says, please pay my wife more money. Maybe I can afford a new truck one day. That's a very selfish way of looking at it, Power 96. So if she made more money, you get a truck. It's like saying, for our anniversary, I'm gonna buy my wife a vacuum cleaner. What's wrong with you, dude? We gotta talk. We gotta talk, Power 96. We gotta talk. You know what? Let me have the Red Bone give you a call. I'm gonna have her give you a call. Yeah, you need somebody to talk to. This guy. Oh my God, he got money under the mattress. His son pays him, his children pays him student loans. He wants his wife to make more money so he can get a truck. This guy lives a life. Listen, he makes what is it that he be down there cooking all that gumbo and stuff. Maybe that's why he's able to do all these things. So he's a great cook down there with the great food down there. He be getting down. He said, "Oh, please do. Yeah, okay. We're gonna have to arrange a call with you and the Red Bone. She's gonna have. And I'm telling you, she will read you. She will read you the rights, and then some. Y'all don't mess with Dawn. Dawn will put it on you. Yeah, yeah. You better look past the looks. That girl got a lot of intellect going on there. A lot of people can't handle it. So, remember the Oscar So White? We got to talk about the Oscars a little bit this morning because the unveiling last week of the nominations brought forth a notable roster of black talent among the 96th Annual Academy Awards. And no, there probably won't be anybody smacked this year. But the list of nominees reveals that, to some degree anyway, the Academy has finally begun to acknowledge the outstanding contributions of African Americans. It's been almost 100 years since the Academy Awards began, and we know there's only been a handful. It started with Hattie McDaniel in 1939. And speaking of Hattie McDaniel, I got to give my girl Rashonda Tate a plug here. Her book, The Queen of Sugar Hill. Y'all can go order it today. I think it's release day. It's release day. Go order it. About Hattie McDaniel. She says it's fiction based on fact. It's Rashonda's 55th book. It's like I got catching up to do. What's this? I got 5 now. This will be my 5th in June. But her 55. I'm 50 behind you, girl. But the Queen of Sugar Hill, Hattie McDaniel. A lot of people think they know her story. But you better read Rashonda's book if you really want to know her story. But Danielle Brooks, Sterling K. Brown, Coleman Domingo. I like that name. I don't know. I don't really know Coleman Domingo. I like that name. That's such a cool name. I think if I had that name back in high school, I'd have had so many chicks. Coleman Domingo. I like that name. Divine Joy Randolph and Jeffrey Wright are among the black actors grabbing nominations for Hollywood's most prestigious awards. It's going to be broadcast, let's see, March the 10th on ABC. So we will see. So Danielle Brooks is for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. So we really want to see not Best Supporting. We want to see Best Actor and Actress, right? But Danielle Brooks, nonetheless, she's Best Actor in a Supporting Role for The Color Purple. Sterling K. Brown, Best Actor in a Supporting Role for American Fiction. Coleman Domingo. I like that name. Coleman Domingo. Best Actor in a Leading Role. There you go. Best Actor. That's because his name is Coleman Domingo. For Rustin Divine Joy Randolph, category Best Actress in a Supporting Role for The Holdovers. Jeffrey Wright, Best Actor in a Leading Role. Now you're talking, for American Fiction. So there you have the Black talent being recognized for excellence at the Academy Awards. Wow. That was kind of fun saying those names. Coleman Domingo. I like Coleman Domingo. Why do I like Coleman Domingo? It doesn't even sound like a Black name. It just sounds like a superhero. No, Power 96, I keep telling you, we have not yet convinced the Academy to do a category for you in Freaknik of 94. It did not make the documentary list. That's right. It did come out, right? The anniversary. That was a documentary, Freaknik, last year. Yeah, they would do Greek Fest and all that before they did Freaknik. But isn't that Greek Fest though? What is it? Greeknik, right? Before they do Freaknik, I guarantee you that. Come on, Oscar's still so white in a lot of ways. Come on, you got to be real about that. But listen. So again, we got some big things coming up. Please stay tuned to Let It Be Known because how many people like Dave Hollister? How many people remember him with Blackstreet? By a show of hands. No, the guy is ultra talented, of course. We all know Blackstreet, No Diggity, and all that stuff. Aunt Pam says, yes. She emphasized with all those S's. Love him, she says. Love him. Well, you're going to be able to see Dave Hollister sit down with Let It Be Known in the next couple of days. So keep tuning. I hate to give out the exact day. I just want you to keep watching. And we'll have a treat there too, because Totally Randy jumps in with Dave Hollister there too. So y'all got to check it out. We're going to do some things. I'll be out across the pond over in France, Paris, France, and London, England. I don't have an accent. I'm trying to get an accent. So when I come to y'all from there, I have an accent, but I'll work on it on the plane. I'll be flying out of JFK and nonstop. I'm nonstop flights. Nonstop. So maybe the flight attendant is from Paris or England, and I'll talk with him or her and try and master that accent. So when I come in and Greer brings me in live from London or from Paris, I can speak with the accent to impress somebody out there. It's hard trying to impress people. That's why I don't try. Topbound 3000 says, who documents facts when we say Black inventors invented? Is there a good source? There's some questions we got to leave for another day. We'll get back to you on that, Southbound 3000. But yes, Dave Hollister's coming up in the next couple of days or so. Tune in. It won't be tomorrow. I'll tell you that much. But it might be Thursday or Friday or even Monday. Austin says safe travels to you and Shanae. He only means that for Shanae. There's no question about it. He could care less about my travels. That's a fact. Trying to get me to walk to Walmart in the middle of the Klan rally. Who does that? Who does that except Austin? Austin probably can talk his way out of a Klan situation. He's so smooth. So smooth. But you guys are smooth, and we appreciate you. We thank you so much for tuning in each and every weekday morning to Let It Be Known. We will see you again tomorrow.